Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max and Trev with BuzzTox, here with our Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 7.
Yes!
I know, right? So this episode, okay, was a lot slower than the average Game of Thrones video, or Game of Thrones episode. Some people thought it was boring. What did you think about it?
Amazing.
Totally agree. I don't blame you. I'm not going to be like, you're stupid if you think the episode was boring. I can understand why. But I personally, I don't know why this episode resonated with me. I think the Hound deserved all the time he got. We had to catch up with him, and I think he's getting primary character status. I feel like everything, this is the best setup episode ever. And this episode was definitely a setup episode.
Oh, huge. It's crazy to think people would think it was boring or dull. But I don't know. There's certain types of fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I really, I enjoyed every moment, all just sitting down and even, the conversation between Yara and Theon. That was even awesome. I could care less. I liked all the conversations that took place. I thought it was an excellent episode. But that being said, let's get into our recap. We're going to give our thoughts and feelings on the episode. Let's start off with the Hound. And I want to say, we're going to go in chronological order, okay? So we say the Hound 3 times. We're going to touch on 3 separate occasions. We're going to go in order.
Oh, boy.
Yes. I have a lot to say. This is going to be a long episode. So let's start off with the Hound, all right? So we see Brother Ray. I immediately I love this character. He's awesome. So he's just smiling, interacting with the people, having a great old time.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is I didn't even feel like I was watching Game of Thrones.
No, it was something different.
Do you know what I mean?
Different.
It was totally different. There was no Game of Thrones credits or credit scene. So it just flashed into it, and it seemed so colorful and just nice. It just didn't feel like Game of Thrones, and I think they did that purposely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we see the Hound carrying one log to himself, when there's 4 guys carrying.
Yeah, before you even knew it was him, you know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, who else would be that strong to do that?
Yeah, I know. So we knew it was the Hound, and I think they conveyed really well that the events that have happened to the Hound really could have changed him, because you can see here it's totally a different Game of Thrones world that we've never seen before, and the Hound has been living in this for a season or 2.
Yeah, he's like a sewer rat in amidst kittens. Everyone's there, it's like a hippie commune. They look like they're building a church in the middle of this paradise.
Yeah, so I think he's really enjoying the whole lifestyle that comes with just the simple life.
I don't know if I would say enjoying, though. I think he feels guilty to be there. He almost feels beholden to these guys now, but he, obviously it's much more enjoyable.
They brought him back, and okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. So then we get the credits, and then we see the Hound cutting wood, and then we see Septa Ray come in and talk about the man who cut him down, and then the Hound groggingly says that he was a woman.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting how he was wondering what kept the Hound going, and he said hate, which is so the Hound, but it totally goes against what the brother believes in.
Yeah, but even if you bring it back, he was already starting to change his character, even with Arya. You saw him really step in as an authority figure or a guardian figure in her life.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, and I think he saw a lot of himself in her.
And even for him to admit that he was bested by a woman was really hard for him. So it's this is a huge change.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing with the Hound is we'll get I'm gonna go really deep into it later, but I feel like he's his whole character, he's been burying his feelings, because he's a Clegane. He has to be tough. He's been hiding his feelings all this time, and suppressing it. And Arya's done the same, because she feels like she has to be strong, and I feel like that's where the connection really came in. But Ray says the gods aren't done with him yet. And then the Hound obviously does not believe him, and he says, "Why haven't they punished me yet?" And I loved when he said this. Brother Ray says, "They already have."
Yeah. And
that was such a big revelation. You could see it in his face. It was a huge revelation to him.
Yeah.
It was holy shit! My life is really fucked up. They actually did punish me. So that goes into, do you agree with Ray's claims? Because he says he doesn't know the gods' names. He doesn't know if they're real. They could all be the same thing. And his take on it is how I feel about the Game of Thrones environment. So I want to hear your thoughts on just religion and Game of Thrones in general. What are your thoughts on it? And do you agree with his claims?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things going on now that make me question the whole religion. It seems like it kind of like ancient religions back in the day in real life, where it was kind of meant to explain things and keep people in check. So it's hard to say whether there is an actual religion, like godly figure, now that we know what's going on with Bran. Obviously there's magic, but is there even higher beings than the magic people? It's kind of hard to tell at this point.
See, I think he nailed the he nailed the nail on the head. He hit the nail on the head. I think that everyone's interpretation, the Red God, the Seven Gods, all that stuff, they're all different ways of telling the same thing. And I think, we've seen with Jon and Beric Dondarrion that there's nothing after death. And that is 100% true. And I feel like the true God is the man under that weirwood tree. And I'm 100% convinced that the God is not the one in the sky. It's the God that's underground, under the roots. And I think the three-eyed raven is pretty much the mantle of the God over the people. And now Bran has taken on that task of being the new God.
Yeah, but so you're saying that... Okay, so going back to Hodor...
Bran's the one who answers prayers. Bran's the one who kind of curves history in the right direction. Bran's the one that looks over the past, present, and the future. And the previous three-eyed raven did that, and now it's Bran's turn to take over that mantle.
So he's basically an operator plugging in people's destiny into the right pipes.
Yeah, and I think, this whole God, like the Red God and all this shit, they're all just leading back to Bran.
They're just interpretations of the same thing.
It's their interpretations of the three-eyed raven's work.
Yeah, I guess so. It just feels like those things were already sort of set in stone, and I don't know how much changing there is of them. That's the only thing. Like, there's manipulation for sure. I don't know if there's changing, because Hodor became Hodor because of the events that happened. It's like it's a closed loop.
No, I 100% agree with that. Time is a closed loop. River goes in one direction. If you throw a rock in it, it still goes in the same direction. It's just you've made a ripple. So you can only affect it. It's like whatever Bran does, it already is going to happen. It's so hard to explain, but yes, you cannot change time. I agree with you.
No, because that loop would always happen.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like Bran is answering prayers which affect the future. Like whatever Bran does, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, even beyond him, he has no control over it, even though he has control over it.
Yeah, like people are saying...
Oh, we're getting into the
I know.
wishy-washy stuff.
No, like people are saying that the Mad King is mad because of Bran. Well, guess what? The Mad King is mad either because of Bran or not because of Bran. No matter what, he's going to be mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what Bran does, he's going to be mad. Bran can't do anything to change that. But moving on to that, I want to talk really quickly about the Hound's purpose. They keep saying that he's alive for a reason. And I remember when I was watching the show, I lit up when they said that because I've watched the show 100 times. And I've memorized so much of Game of Thrones. I remembered the moment, season 3, episode 6. I think I'm right. I didn't look that up. If I get that, that's amazing. But Beric Dondarrion says to the Hound, the Red God is not done with you yet. And he has plans for him.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time, I've been theorizing about what his plans are. And then I tried, back in the day, I was like, oh, his whole point was to save Arya, which led her away from the Red Wedding, which led her to become a faceless person, which led her to become an assassin, which would lead her to help in the fight for the Dawn or assassinate someone of importance. So his importance is to save Arya. But now I realized he did that, and he still has more importance. So what do you think his purpose is?
There's so many things, right? I feel like there's so many eggs in this basket. We have the Azor Ahai thing coming. There's so many. It seems like there's now so many people that could fit this bill that I feel like almost it's now not a single person is Azor Ahai. They all have traits that lead into one thing, as opposed like a team, an Avengers, as opposed to a single superhero. Yeah.
See, I would say the Hound's purpose is to serve the Savior. So his purpose is to be of service to Jon Snow, to Daenerys, and to Tyrion. So I think he's going to make his way north to serve the Starks. I'm going to go in depth in this later on why.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to go north for Arya's sake to help the Starks. And he's going to he's going to meet Jon, and that's who he's going to serve. He's going to serve his savior, and I think that's the whole point of the Hound. Spread the good, spread what he learned, and help Jon with the fight for the Dawn.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It would be cool. It's making those connections in my mind are very hard, because it's like, how does he explain himself to everyone under the sun that he's sort of wronged, right? If he sees Brienne again and he's alive, how does he reconcile that? There's so many things there. I almost feel like, for me, I feel like he's done serving. He's done being the Hound. That part of him died when he fell off the cliff. And he's done serving. Other than maybe now serving this religion.
It's not serving.
Loosely.
Yeah, but the difference is the Hound served people that weren't his own self-interests.
Yeah, that's why I think the only thing he's going to service... the only thing he's going to serve is this. He's going to follow this religion loosely.
Okay, let me correct serve the savior. I think he's going to ally himself with people who are going to save the current state of Westeros with the fight for the dawn.
So, okay. Do you believe in the Cleganebowl?
I keep poo-pooing it, and I can't see it. I always say it's I think it's a way too fan service fan theory. I think they're looking way too much into it, and even in the show, if you look at it, it doesn't make sense. Why would he go back to fight his brother? Unless his mindset is like, I want to save him, but I think he's done with that part of his life. Why would he want to go back to King's Landing? I think season 2 he left for good. He fucking hates that place, and I think he's done.
I just think the imagery in this scene, this opening scene, is just it's almost too much. Like, you have this sept talking rationally about being good and being, like, for this particular religion. He's, like, full on wearing it. They're building a church, and it just seems like it almost has to happen that he gets hooked up with the Sparrow at this point.
Really?
Yeah, like, I didn't want to believe it, but now obviously that he's back, it just seems like he's gonna maybe he gets, like, captured and they bring him back to King's Landing, and he gets, I don't know, he gets tangled in the civil war that's coming there between the faith and these guys, and he's chosen to fight out of, like, his destiny. But if that does happen, I don't think he's making out of that. I think it's going to be like the Viper versus the Mountain, where, yeah, he kind of kills the Mountain, technically, but he dies, too. Like, it's almost like that's what he came back for.
But I feel like
to kill his past self.
That's not maybe, but that, to me, that doesn't hold a big enough purpose. But we'll get more into the Hound. We're going to be talking about the Hound for hours. There's more to come for the Hound, but let's go to Margery and the High Sparrow. So this kind of caught me off guard. So Margery's reading the Bible, and obviously her very conservative clothes. the seven star. My bad. And
they're all the same.
And Margery, she obviously says again, she never really loved the poor. She was just putting on an act to make herself look good, like all that shit. And then, the High Sparrow sits her down and says, "Hey, lady, you're not having sex with Tommen." And then, so Margery pretty much, she claims that the desires that drive her no longer do. So what do you think are her reasons for not sleeping with Tommen?
She wants out. She doesn't feel like that's a real thing now, and she feels sort of like, I know she is totally bullshitting. Obviously, she handed the note to say she's still strong, which we'll get into, but I feel like she's like, I need to distance myself from that part of my life now. I just need to get home. I need to get back to Highgarden, and I need to save my family, because that's really all that matters in this. She knows about Tommen. She knows that's bullshit. She knows all that stuff is bullshit now, and she just wants to cut all ties. Right? She hopped from king to king. Right?
Right.
And she is legitimately feeling guilty about that, and maybe even what she said about the poor. But she's not losing herself in this. She knows where she stands, but she feels a little guilty.
Yeah, and I think, do you think she still wants to be queen?
Maybe. I don't think those are her motivations right now. I don't think she's thinking about that right now at all. I think she's trying to get out of this and get her brother out of there and make sure everything is safe on her side of the family.
Yeah, okay. So I
like
think
she probably doesn't want to have relations with Tommen because she's worried she's gonna have some weird, like, incest baby. Like, she knows that shit is real.
I don't think that's her concern. I think, first of all, primarily she's pissed. But I think on a strategy level, if she doesn't sleep with Tommen, first of all, there's no heir. Which, if you get an heir, you're locked in with the Seven and with Tommen.
Yeah, that's definite motivation.
But then I'm trying to see, I feel like not sleeping with Tommen kind of jabs him because it's saying, you wanted this faith. And now because of this faith, I'm not going to sleep with you. Because the faith, I believe, like, being holy, I shouldn't. So it's kind of like a stab in the back to Tommen. Oh, you like sleeping with me? Well, guess what? Look what you did. Now I'm not going to sleep with you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like a double because she wanted him to do this so she could save her ass, but at the same time...
Yeah. Well, now I think like, she wanted him to do it, but now she's probably pissed at him because she sees all the Tyrell army.
No, I don't think she's pissed at him. I think she knows he's weak, and she knows she is using him just like a pawn for her intentions. She just wants out of there. That's why I don't think she's giving it up for him at all. She just wants out. She wants out of everything.
Right. I think she does have.
What would she stand to gain now in this kingdom? She knows the power is no longer there with any of those guys, including Tommen.
Think about it, but like rule, like I think she might want to rule. I don't know. She needs to figure out a way to save herself. I think she might have some kind of plan.
But, 100%.
But right now the High Sparrow threatens Lady Olenna. He's like, he fears for her safety.
I feel like I noticed something just now. I was talking about. Does the fucking High Sparrow ever blink?
I don't know, man.
Because I was thinking of something that we're going to talk about later, but it's like, I feel like when he talks, he doesn't blink. And it's almost like, because my theory is, the High Sparrow knows Margery's plans. He maybe doesn't know it exactly, but he knows that she's bullshitting. He's way too wise, and I feel like he doesn't blink. Like, he just goes, he always is just like staring like this. Like, he speaks his wise words, and he always just stares.
The gods are good. I can see everything. I don't have to
Like,
blink.
maybe I have to do a run through for some of his scenes, but I really feel like
I might now. Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't blink. It's weird.
Does the High Sparrow blink? Question of the episode.
Yeah.
So Margery immediately goes to Lady Olenna. Margery, she's pulling her act. Loras needs to confess for his sins, and if he does that, he'll have to renounce all his titles. Holy shit, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The Tyrells will lose everything if he confesses. And Loras isn't looking so hot right now. So he better, freaking stay in there. I don't know if, she can talk to him now, but, it's important that he knows that he can't renounce his titles. And he can't confess.
We don't know how they treat homosexuality in this, right?
Well,
is it the same?
I don't think it's punishable by death. No, she said, and I remember saying this earlier. It's Cersei's act is probably punishable by death because as a queen, she took in acts that, kind of chip away at her title. I guess I don't know, but I feel like, being gay, in that world, even in that world, it shouldn't be something that's punishable by death. I think they're just gonna, and because he's a High Lord. It's tough because even the guy that ratted him out was gay, and they didn't hold him, did they? I don't think so.
He just sort of admitted it, and then that was it, and then he left.
He confessed, and he added to the trial. But what I was going to say is that because he's a High Lord, they would treat him differently. I contradicted myself. That's not going to happen. They treat everyone equal. That's the whole High Sparrow's thing. So I think they're just going to kick him out. They're going to kick him out and take away his titles. And that's what they did say. That's what they said that they're going to do.
No, you don't think he's going to do trial by combat too?
No.
I don't think. So you know what? Actually, sorry, I take that back. I don't think he's going to make it to that. I think there's going to be, we already kind of see it in the next upcoming scenes. The mountain starts fucking tearing shit up with those guys in the black robes. So, I don't know. I don't think Loras is making out. He's too weak. And I don't know if they treat everyone the same. Because he's a knight. I'm not saying he's a weakling, but I don't think he would be so, emotionally beaten by these guys if they weren't doing a little bit more to him.
Right, okay. And then so Margery slips the flower to Lady Olenna, and just out of personal interest, is that a rose or a flower, or what is that?
Looks like it's their sigil.
Yeah, I know, but what flower is it?
I'm assuming a rose. It looked like it had thorns.
I was staring at it. I'm like, what fucking flower is that? I had no idea.
I think, is the screenshot of it upside down? Like when it shows it in her hands?
It's just a generic flower, but I was trying to figure out, I don't know why, but for the life of me, I wanted to know what this flower was. This was like an open, my thoughts.
I think it looks like an open bloomed rose with thorns on it. That's what makes me think it's a rose.
Okay, anyways. So obviously, this note means that, she's still a Tyrell.
Yeah.
We both have the same interpretation of it. It means, hey, look, I'm still me. It kind of also means, does it mean I got a plan? Because I know she wants Lady Olenna out of there for her own safety. But does it really mean, like, don't worry, I'm still myself, I'm still a Tyrell, and I got this? Do you think she has a plan?
Yeah, oh yeah. But I think she's naive to think that she's tricking the Sparrow.
So what do you think her overall, like, plan would be? Like, what could she possibly do? She's stuck between the Septa, the High Sparrow, and her husband who just wants to bone all night.
Yeah, she's getting out of there. She is not staying in King's Landing. There's no way. She knows this shit is going down.
I know, but I don't think... You can't just pack up and leave as the queen.
I think she's banking on it getting fucked up.
Exactly. And I think by her own doing, I think she's going to try and expose the High Sparrow's corruption. Either that is his own corruption, which I doubt, or she's going to create an opportunity to expose his corruption to get the people on her side.
What corruption, though? He's pretty, nothing really sticks to him.
Here's the thing. So the people on Margery's side as well as the High Sparrow side, and I think in a trailer, literally in a millisecond, you can see kids stabbing a body. I think that is the murder of Qyburn. Okay?
Okay.
And I think the kids killed... There are many reasons why the kids could kill Qyburn or Pycelle or anybody. I personally think it's Qyburn. I think one of the reasons could be the children killed Qyburn because they're meant to get whispers. And the whispers that they're hearing is the High Sparrow's doing all these good things for the poor people, and Qyburn represents Cersei, who during her ruling doesn't care for the poor people, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the kids took it upon themselves to murder Qyburn. And I think Margery is going to want to blame that death on the High Sparrow and give him and sentence him to a murder charge. And everyone is under question under the gods. And I think even him can be put into question and put on trial.
Yeah, but do you think it's like, if the High Sparrow is no longer leading this, you think the whole shit falls apart? I feel like it's too ingrained now. They signed the pact. The king has to die. High Sparrow has to die. A good majority of those monks have to die. That bitch nun has to die. All those, like, the whole infrastructure has to smash. And that's why I think we saw that dragon fire blow up. I think there's gonna be a huge, I don't know, people are saying that people aren't gonna survive this. I really think King's Landing isn't gonna survive this season.
Yeah, I think. See, you know what? I'm going on your side more and more, because I think in the next season it's probably gonna focus more on the north, and not so much on the south.
Yeah, I think the south is see ya.
And it makes sense because on Dany's way, I keep saying that she's going to arrive in Dorne. On her way north, she could stumble across King's Landing. But I think that I don't know if they're going to do it now. I think that Wildfire is a flash forward to season 7, probably midway through. It'll be like an episode 4. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it's getting down to the wire, so I really think something is going down. If it doesn't get destroyed. Literally destroyed, it's going to be civil war there for sure.
Yeah, so let's go over to Jon Snow and Tormund. So pretty much some wildlings disagree. They don't think that they should help Jon get back Winterfell. That's not what they swore to do. But however, Tormund is backing Jon. And he says that they're still alive because of Jon. And Jon also claims that if they lose, it's not like they're scot-free. The first thing the Boltons are going to do is go and kill all their women, children, and them.
Well, any of the North houses would kill them. They hate them.
Yeah. So Jon's pretty much saying it's something that they have to do together in order to live and to survive.
It's a survival war.
And then Tormund also claims that Jon did die for them, and why should they not do anything but the same? And as soon as one stands up and says Snow, I like how the wildlings stood up and shook hands with Jon.
Yeah.
And I like this line. Tormund says, you know, the wildlings are not clever like Southerners. When they say something, they do it. Meaning, like, when you look at King's Landing, people are lying through their teeth, and they're pulling these schemes on other people.
Yeah.
But the wildlings tell it to your face, and they do what they mean, even if it's not in their best interest. And I feel like, you know, I want to talk about all three of the trio. You have Jon, Davos, and Sansa.
Yeah.
All three of them have something special to offer. And Jon is like a freaking wildling. Like that, like what Tormund just said, that is so Jon.
Yeah.
His honor, he's like Ned Stark. His honor comes before anything. If he says he's going to do something, he does it.
Yeah, even if he does it begrudgingly.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting seeing how Jon talking to the wildlings is so easy for him. It's so easy for him to communicate and negotiate with the wildlings because that's a part of his character. That's who he is. He relates more to the wildlings than anyone else. He doesn't take part in this like southern banter.
Yeah.
But then
he doesn't play the game, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I love it because everyone has a part to play. Davos is not good with the wildlings, but he's great at communicating with noble houses.
Yeah, because he's used to bending the knee.
Yeah, and what he's great at doing is looking at the people and realizing their point of view and convincing and understanding their position. And we see that throughout the episode. But then what Sansa's good at is she's really taking action role. You know, we'll
trying
but we'll talk about it later in the episode, is where she's seeing opportunities and seems like she's going to take risks that Jon and Davos aren't willing to take. So we go to Lady Olenna and Cersei. So Cersei pretty much goes to meet Lady Olenna to talk about her leaving. Cersei obviously doesn't think she should leave. I don't know about you, but I think like Cersei just looked so broken and desperate.
Yeah, like it was so weird. This season for her is very strange. They've really cranked down her evil queenness in the first like 4 episodes, and then they turned it back up, where it doesn't really seem like motivated. She's kind of a little bit more reserved, and she's thinking about what she's doing before she's doing it. But this scene, like it was just like being her bitter self.
She was just like.
But Olenna's like, she was in the company of Olenna, who seems like she should be the queen regent of everywhere because she's so wise, right?
Yeah, but she really gave it to Cersei. So Cersei naturally doesn't think Lady Olenna should leave. Lady Olenna blames her for pretty much everything. And Cersei thinks that they should work together to stop them. Of course she does. Lady Olenna pretty much is all Cersei has. Yeah. Except for Qyburn and the Mountain.
Yeah. This is just one of her stool legs getting taken out from under her, basically.
Yeah, like getting you can see Cersei like so pissed when Lady Olenna says she's getting out of Dodge because like Cersei actually needs her.
And she's sort of accepting like, fuck, like this can go either way and it's leaning to going to shit.
Yeah, so then I loved how Olenna's like, I wonder if you're the most vile person I've ever met. And you actually see that kind of like hurt Cersei's feelings. And she says, you know, Cersei, everyone surrounded by Cersei is her enemy. Like everyone that she's ever cared for is gone. Jaime's gone. She only has the Mountain. But then Cersei, you know, you can tell she's trying to take a convincing approach by saying, I would never leave my son. Like, it's like, you're leaving your granddaughter and grandson, but I, Cersei, will never leave my son. And you should feel awful for doing that. And that was pretty much her, like, argumentative, like, point.
Yeah, but it really had no sway. Olenna did want to stay. She was told by Margery to go with good reason. Well, we don't know the reason, but she trusts this reason.
Yeah.
But so obviously she's not going to say that and all that stuff, so she's just confidently getting out of there. And she means well to do so. Do you think she'll die?
Who, Lady Olenna?
Yeah. No.
But then that's what I was going to ask you. Is that it for her? Like, what, is she leaving? Or, like, what's up with her?
I don't know. It's hard to say with her. I don't think that was her last scene, but I don't see her getting violently killed.
It doesn't make sense. I think she's just leaving.
Yeah.
But then that being said, so what the hell is Cersei going to do now? So we've seen, like, crazy, like, the Mountain Rebellion.
Yeah, so what she's going to fuck shit up. It's going to, literally, when she says I choose violence, it's going to that level. So she's going to start this whole shit, and we sort of get into it, but I think this is why Jaime has to leave. Leaving the the Blackfish open to go help who he needs to help. Because there's no other way of them getting out of there unless they get demolished, and there's nobody. But there's no way Jon is going up against this huge force without someone coming in last minute and saving them.
Yeah,
right?
True. Yeah.
So that was my question from before. You rewatched them, so maybe you got this. Does Littlefinger have an army of his own somewhere in the Riverlands?
He has the Vale backing him.
So he has the Vale.
Yes.
Okay? But then the Blackfish has the army of, like, Riverrun. In the castle, that's it.
Yeah, they don't have many men.
Okay, so it could go either way then. Because I thought, for some reason, the whole entire army was in that Riverrun right now dealing with a siege. And that's why they would be held back from helping them.
Yeah, and really quick, I took that, like Cersei saying, I choose violence. It's like, why would she say, I choose violence? Like, it doesn't make any sense for her to automatically make up a stir. So I think, the main reason is, I think her only action now is to cause a big, like, ruckus and then get to see her son again. Because I don't think they're allowing her to see Tommen or, like, speak to him.
When
so
you see that scene, it looks like she's still in that. She almost is like on house arrest, right?
Yeah, so it's like, I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to make all this shit like crazy. And then I want to see my son. And I want to see if he has the decency to let his mom go. Or is he going to punish me?
Well, I think Marjorie's maybe putting the heat up on him. And he's going to turn into spoiled baby boy. Yeah. Make a stink of it. And something's going to go bad.
Or we start the episode by Qyburn dying immediately, and then Cersei says, I choose violence because she believes the High Sparrow was the one who assassinated.
Well, you see, there's a scene, we always do this. There's always a scene in the next one. You see Qyburn walking behind her with the mountain, and she's walking, it almost looks like up to the throne. Right? Maybe going to address Tommen, but maybe she's held off after that. Maybe she bad-mouths Tommen in front of everybody, and that's why they get met up with. Those, like, 3 monks. Lancel is his name, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, do you think Lancel's dying this episode?
Yeah, sure.
I guess he doesn't serve a purpose, but
doesn't really matter.
If he ends up dying, what's going on with Kevin Lannister?
I don't know.
Like, he's out. There's so many spinning plates here.
I know, there's so much going on.
I think there's going to be a huge smashing of these plates this episode.
Huge smashing of what?
Like, a lot of things are going to fall down this episode.
Did you just say smashing plates?
Yeah, plates spinning on sticks. They're going to fall now. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. So either Riverrun is destroyed, or Jaime's called back to King's Landing to help with now the civil war that's happening there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, let's go back to Jaime and Bronn. And he doesn't seem like he wants to leave. He seems like a man of business. He wants to get this shit done. And he's not going to leave until, I believe he won't leave until the task is completed. Either if that's a fail or a victory. But, so we go to Jaime and Bronn, and they're marching up with their Lannister army. And we get, like, I freaking love their scenes together. Like, they're a really good duo.
Yeah, him and Bronn.
They're really funny together. I like Bronn more with Jaime than I did with Tyrion.
Yeah. I don't know. Pretty good.
But, so Jaime pretty much wants Bronn to be the right hand that he lost. He wants Bronn to be his right-hand man. Hopefully give him a nice big plot of land on Casterly Rock, probably. Yeah. And then, Bronn's like, don't fucking say it. The Lannisters always pay their debts. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. And then, the Blackfish have Lord Edmure. It's like the worst siege ever. I think they threatened to kill him like 10 times that day.
Yeah, they must have.
Yeah, and then they put the knife on him. They called their bluff. And then I loved how Jaime just came in, ordered everyone around, and literally, like, bitch slapped him. Because he taught him a lesson. He's like, don't carry out threats that you're not willing to carry out. Like, if I told him I was going to slap you in the face, if you spoke one more time, and then he spoke again, he slapped him in the face. It's like, there you go. And then he got everyone doing what he wanted. So there you go. You have anything to say about this scene?
Yeah, no, exactly what you're gonna say. Like, those guys are idiots. They're just idiots, and that's all they serve. They're gonna die horribly, and that's it. But I'm very curious with Riverrun, because, like, to me, I feel like they're gonna get out of there, because it's not like all hope is lost if Riverrun is destroyed. So what do we get by that? Just like seeing that a good character that we haven't seen for a long time gets killed, like, and an army that we haven't really seen much of gets scooped up. I really feel like Jaime's gonna be called back home in the next episode. Maybe Tommen dies. Maybe the Civil War starts.
I don't think he'll be called back home. I think he's gonna complete his business and then head on.
But what's his business? To kill the Blackfish and that's it?
Well, his king is he has to take back Riverrun. So either he's gonna storm the castle and lose a bunch of his men, which is kind of a stupid idea, or he could siege them out, which it's a 2-year wait. So I don't know if he wants to do that. So he's in a tough spot right now. So we'll have to see next episode what his plan is. But we know that he meets up with Arya. Or not, oh my god, whoa. He meets up with Brienne.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But let's go over to House Mormont at Bear Island.
Good scene.
Yeah, so same thing with this scene. So it's a good scene, but there's not much to analyze. It's pretty much just Lady Lyanna, who's like 10 or 11 or 12. Did you like Lady Lyanna? I thought she was kick-ass.
Yeah, she was dope.
So she was named after Lyanna Stark. And Jon brings up the letter with the Mormonts and how, she said to Stannis in season 5 that they don't support anyone else but the name who's Stark. I butchered it, but you know what I mean. They support the Starks.
Yeah.
But then she totally calls him out. Like, she's like, yeah, I said I support the Starks. You're Snow, and I don't know what you are. Sansa, are you a Bolton or are you a Lannister?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No,
and then,
it makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Like that's what I love about all this. Like they're going around meeting all these houses, and you want them to get the men, but you can't blame them for not getting the men. Like all the answers are totally legitimate.
Yeah.
Like she's totally right to be concerned.
Plus she's like what, 10?
Yeah.
She's well advised.
Yeah.
So it fits very well.
And then Davos comes in and goes to her level and really communicates and understands her, which is what I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He really knows how to understand noble houses and just people in general, whereas Jon is more with the wildlings. Let's go back to Jaime and the Blackfish. So they're parlaying. Is it parlaying?
Yeah.
They're talking terms. So the Blackfish just destroys Jaime.
Yeah.
So he comes off with
older and wiser.
I know, he comes off with a burn. Did you come here to fulfill my niece's vow? To return Sansa and Arya? Well, no. Okay. And then he thought he came to resume his capture. But, yeah, I thought it was funny how, like, Jaime pretty much can't make any claims on his honor anymore.
No.
I think that's his problem. Like I trust him, but he's never going to be able to make a claim on his honor again.
No, never.
Because he's a Kingslayer. So that's what he said. He said, on my honor, I'll let you go. And, Blackfish totally calls him out.
Yeah.
It's like bargaining with an Oathbreaker is building on quicksand.
He's morally bankrupt in the eyes of everybody around him.
Yeah, so I think this is where you run into the problem. The Blackfish says he will never give up his home. This is where he grew up. This is where he was raised. It is his home, and he will never give it up. And he will stay here for 2 years siege. That's how long he can last. And if he wants to go to war, he will.
Mm-hmm.
We'll kill more men. We'll die trying, but we'll kill more men. So there it is. But there's a couple things that I found interesting with this. So before I get into it, what do you think is the conclusion? How do you think that this is going to resolve? Or what do you think is going to happen with this whole situation?
I don't know. I really think Jaime's going to have to leave. It's this. They either destroy it and they go home, or Jaime's got to leave. And it just doesn't make sense for them to be able to destroy Riverrun in a single night. So something's going to happen. Maybe there's some internal strife. Something's going to happen like next episode for this thing to get called off. Because what's the point? Why do we care now about the Blackfish? What's the point of the Blackfish? He's dug in. He's not leaving here unless the siege stops. So either Jaime gets called away, that leaves them to pretty much open the doors and kill the Freys. Who the fuck cares about the Freys? They're weak. They're gonna die, right? And they're gonna die horribly. So I don't know. I don't see. I see this turning around. Like there's an existential threat to his family. That's why he has to go. Cersei's trial by combat. He said that he didn't want to be there for, but we know he doesn't miss things when it comes to Cersei. He talks about the giving the birth, and I feel like he obviously doesn't want to be there. And it's just going to be maybe another exchange with the Blackfish where he realizes, like, this is not worth fighting for. I got to get back because there's a civil war breaking out. Maybe Tommen dies.
I couldn't disagree with you more. So the whole thing to me is that, Jaime was now kicked out and he's the head of the Lannister army. He cannot abandon his post as the head Lannister. He needs to complete this task and then he can go to King's Landing. And I think that's why he's in a rush, and that's why he's pissed off, because he knows that he's going to have to end up going to war with them, because he wants to get home and he's in a rush, but he's going to solve the issue no matter what. And this whole thing is resolved next episode. I'm pretty much guaranteeing it.
How would they fucking take a serious castle in the middle of, like, a moat in one?
Well, here's the thing. So I remember in the reaction video I said that I believed that what they could do is the Blackfish could say, okay, we take up your surrender, let us go peacefully. They leave peacefully and meet up with the Starks, help them fight and win back Winterfell, and then they take the Stark armies and they take back Riverrun.
Impossible. The Blackfish made it clear he is not leaving. There's no terms where he's leaving.
Brienne's going to be there in Riverrun, and her whole point of the next episode is to parlay between Jaime and the Blackfish. And I think she's going to try and appeal to his interests. So I feel like I'm trying to think of what her role would be. We know the Lannisters win. In the trailer, we see Walder Frey toasting with the Lannister soldiers. Mm-hmm. They took back Riverrun. I don't think they fought over it. I think Brienne walked in and said, look, we need you up north. You have the castle now. Why don't you come with me and we'll come back and take it when you're stronger and when you're able to actually hold it. Because you're only going to last a 2-year siege and you're not going to survive a battle. So why don't you come with me and then we'll come back with more men and take it back. Or to avoid the all the, they make an oath that they're not going to take it back. To avoid that, maybe Arya sneaks him out or something during the fight. Maybe Jaime decides to actually, okay, fuck it, we're going to start attacking, and then they decide to pull out at the back of the castle. I feel like
he's escaped before a pretty bad, he escaped the Red Wedding, and that was like a serious siege, not just inside but outside. Like, they started killing everybody.
Yeah, but the whole thing was that Brienne said in the preview, she said, I need to negotiate with the Blackfish, and if you keep me from doing that, honor compels me to kill you, because I need him. So I think what she's going to do, she's going to try and find a humane way to maybe sneak off with the Blackfish, because I feel like Jaime's not leaving, and Jaime's not holding back, and neither is the Blackfish. So I think she's going to have to appeal to him in that sense. That's the most realistic outcome I can think of.
I think she's maybe getting a small force. I really think the Blackfish made his claim. He is not leaving there. Maybe he sends someone else. Maybe he sends some troops. I see him dying there.
Right. Okay. Well, do you have anything else to say about that scene?
No.
All right. Oh, really quick thing. So I thought it was really interesting. I want to put this out here before it actually happens. So Blackfish says that he can last 2 years and wonders if Jaime can last 2 years. Just want to say, I've watched all the 5 seasons of Game of Thrones like 1 billion times. Mm-hmm. This is definitely foreshadowing Jaime's death. Like, I know it's foreshadowing Jaime's death.
Yeah.
Just wanted to put that out there. Anyways, let's move on to House Glover. So, Jon, Davos, Sansa, go back to House Glover.
Yeah.
Davos isn't able to negotiate this time around.
None of them are.
Yeah, I know that. Jesus Christ. The head Glover is very clear. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
He does not want to join
say
Jon.
Danny. Let's call him Danny.
Yeah.
Danny.
He took Glover. So Glover took in Jon just out of respect for Ned. And he wants him to leave. And he's especially pissed off that they're fighting for the wildlings.
Yeah.
And then Sansa kind of sticks up for... as he starts leaving, he says that, you are sworn to the Stark name, whatever, and then he comes in and says the Starks are dead. Do you have any thoughts about this scene?
It's just showing that they're spread too thin. They really have no claim, unfortunately. Jon is not a Stark as much as he wants to be, and as much as we know him to be. But to them, these they're just trying to scrape by. They really are just trying to survive for the winter. That's why asking these guys for any sort of help is a long stretch goal. But I don't think that means they're totally out. I think that once obviously this Winterfell thing is, everyone's back on back on their team.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's just they're not gonna do anything without seeing the action first.
Exactly, but you can't blame the guy at this moment.
Of course.
For not. Yeah. But
He has sworn to the Starks, and he lost a lot.
Yeah. But there is something at this moment that I really wanted to point out. So I talked about how Davos is really great at community. I love the show because they really stick with their characters. Like, Jon, obviously, based on his character, can really communicate with the wildlings. Davos can naturally really communicate with, people in noble houses and that kind of environment. He's been doing it for Stannis for years.
Yeah.
You really see who Arya is when she says, you guys are sworn to the Starks. You have to help us.
You mean you said Arya, but you meant Sansa.
Oh my god, I'm saying Arya's always on my mind.
Yeah.
She says, especially after this episode.
Yeah, fucking
But, so Sansa... she really shows her true colors and who she learned from, Peter Baelish. The fact that she uses information and intel to try and pull someone's loyalty is 100% Peter Baelish.
Yeah, she pulled the loyalty card, but she's still learning. That's why I don't think it was effective.
That's what I love about it. Davos never pulls the loyalty card. Jon doesn't pull the loyalty card. Jon negotiates in a wildling term. It's just common sense. This is what's going to happen. They're going to come for you. Jon communicates with their self-interest. Davos connects to the individual he's talking to, whereas Jon, I found, was kind of condescending to Lady Lyanna when he said, my lady, what you don't understand is he was being condescending. He wasn't approaching her at her level.
No.
Whereas Davos was. And I love with Sansa here, you see that, she takes a different approach. She uses intel and all this kind of back alley information and shit to get people to follow her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very reminiscent of how Peter Baelish does things. But that's what I wanted to say. So let's go over to Yara and Theon. So pretty much, Theon, I could do this in 5 minutes. So Theon is a nervous wreck.
Do it in 5 seconds, please.
All right. So Theon is a nervous wreck, a beat dog. And
so they teleported through Westeros.
I almost don't even want to say teleported anymore because I realize that every single story has an individual timeline. Like Jon's story this week, this one episode, Jon's story took place over 3 weeks.
I guess, but we know that it's a huge place, and the Iron Islands geographically are really far away from wherever that is.
Like, for me, the timeline is Arya this episode. The last 5 episodes, it's been a week for Arya.
Do you think they're meeting up with Daenerys this season?
Yes, I think it could be in the next couple episodes. I think so Theon's a beat dog. Yara loves women, and she makes him drink. And I think the whole point of this scene was to really drive down that Theon needs to change. You can't have Theon just boom and have him change immediately. You need to have a scene like this to make him kind of gradually change. Theon is still going to be broken, but he's not going to be like a quivering beat dog.
Well, he's a quivering, scared squirrel that she has to, coax him out of his shell now.
Yeah. So I think I love it. Just slit your wrists and be done with it. And he's like, no.
Yeah, but that's they're pirates.
I know
that's what I mean.
I'm
so tired of this guy.
Hey, relax.
I don't even want to see them with Daenerys. I hope she goes, sure, I'll take your ships. Chomp, chomp, eats both of them. Boom, she's got her ships. She lowers their flags, even though, what's so funny out of all this? My favorite sigil is the Greyjoys. It's
really?
the most, for me, it's the dopest thing.
It's ironic.
Yeah. But I hate them.
No, okay. So this is gonna start to be Theon's change. Okay.
I don't care.
So I'm gonna answer your question. I think that they are gonna meet up with Daenerys either episode 9 or 10. It could possibly be. I'm leaning towards, honestly. It wouldn't surprise me if they're there next episode. Anyways.
Well, yeah, they're close enough.
And I have one prediction that I think they're gonna bump into. Jorah the Andal.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of this, they're going to bump into Jorah. We're going to be like, oh shit, it's Jorah. And I think they're going to communicate. They're going to realize that they're going to go serve Daenerys. And Jorah is going to say, hey, I've been a huge servant of Daenerys, blah, blah, blah. She sent me to go heal myself. This is what I have. And I think out of good graces, they're going to send him on a ship back to Westeros so they can see Dany like, oh, we saw your buddy Jorah. We sent him home to Westeros so he can be cured, blah, blah, blah.
I'm trying to think who saved what's her name? What was Davos's little the girl? Stannis' daughter.
Shireen?
Yeah. Who saved Shireen from the grayscale?
The fire.
No. Unfortunately. We saw her
No,
leave.
it was... Stannis brought in all the maesters and magicians and anything possible, so there's no pinpoint on who cured her.
I felt like it was something to do with water. There was in the books. I remember this. Like she had like a friend, who was like, I guess he had some sort of mental issue, and he was like a jester. But I feel like he came in on a boat that the person that cured the grayscale was on, something like that. That's totally so far back I can't remember, but I wonder, there could be something to that. Maybe those guys know how to cure grayscale.
It'll be interesting. Jorah's gonna have to do some digging. But do you think we're gonna see Jorah again this season?
I don't know. He's like Ollena. He's been sent away, so maybe there's like a scene of him kind of like traveling on him by himself, either.
Or kind of like a Barristan and Selmy, where they kick him out of King's Landing and we see him a season later.
Could be.
But anyways, let's go back to Jon, Davos, and Sansa. So they're at the Stannis camp. This is where Roose Bolton went in and with 20 men burnt all their tents down.
Yeah.
And naturally, Jon's kind of on the edge. He doesn't want to be there for long. He's nervous for the weather. He thinks that this is a bad time to be sitting out here. His idea is to get out there and fight now because he feels like now's the time. He thinks if they wait, there's going to be the weather. They're going to lose their men. There's going to be a lot of shit happening. And then Davos leaves to break up a wildling fight, which kind of shows that, it's not much of an army.
No, they're like 10 soldiers right now.
I thought it was pretty funny how Davos was breaking up the fight. He's like swearing at them. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
But do you think Jon's right for wanting to leave right now? Or because Sansa...
Well, Sansa pulled some shit, though.
I know, but let's get to that in a bit. I just want to say, she seems natural. She just seems like jealous of Davos just because she feels like she deserves the attention and respect that he's getting. Because I feel like she believes that she has something special to offer, and Jon just isn't listening to her. Because she points out, like, this guy's been following Stannis for so long. The guy who did this, did that. The guy who has no head now. And because he got 62 men for you. And she says, like, we need more men. We have House Kerwin. We have all these other houses that we can approach. And Jon's stance is, no, we fight with the existing army. Do you think Jon's right for wanting to fight with this existing army?
I think he has no choice.
I agree. I think he has no choice. And I think it makes sense from his position. And I think Sansa's the one who's willing to take more risk. And I think in this case, her risk is going to pay off. So she sees a raven and she writes a letter to an unknown person. Who do you think that person is? I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, why did I feel it on my neck?
Why did I feel it everywhere?
It's obviously Baelish. Who else does she have to call on?
Okay, I had a theory this morning, and I smiled with excitement because I thought I nailed it, but then I debunked my own theory.
Like, who else? So it's like, this is her moonshot. If he shows up with an army, then she's back in Jon's good graces. Well, I don't know why she's trying to impress Jon. She's just sort of kind of almost in a sense using Jon to get Winterfell back. Jon's his own dude, really. But he's loyal to his family, and he's helping her out. He seems like he doesn't want to do this. Like, we know he doesn't want to do this, but he has to. He's locked in. So I don't know why she's trying to... I agree with you. I think she is sort of being jealous and wants to, like, sort of prove her weight here. So, I don't know. I think this is a risk because we really don't know where Littlefinger's loyalty lies.
Yeah, and I think Jon was literally raised exactly like Ned. Like, he literally is the child incarnation of Ned Stark. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, Ned Stark was raised as a middle child, not as a leader. And Jon was raised as a Snow. He wasn't raised to lead the Starks. And this is the arc where he learns how to be a lord. And I think it's going to be the same. His arc is going to be the same as Ned Stark. But with Sansa, there are three options on who I think she could write that letter to. I think one of them is the obvious one, which is Peter Baelish, which now digging through all the information, I think is the most likely. So here are the reasons. Pitch in anytime you want. We see him in snow in the trailer.
Yeah. Meaning
that he's up north participating in something. And you see a person come in. I think that's probably Sansa. And I've been doing some digging. I might be wrong. If you have any ideas, pitch in. But isn't it in Littlefinger's best interest to help the Starks? Okay? He currently has the Vale. He made a deal with Cersei to seize Riverrun, or to seize Winterfell to whoever was in power, from the Boltons or Stannis. He would just pick up from the worse off party.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, Cersei has no power.
No.
Tommen isn't a reliable king, and is currently, you could say, the Faith is running King's Landing right now.
Yeah. That's why Baelish can never show his face there anymore. He runs whorehouses and like debauchery mansions.
Yeah. So he's
done in King's Landing.
He literally needs Sansa as an ally. He can't trust King's Landing anymore.
No.
He needs a Stark. He needs to help Sansa to ensure like he has a strong ally in the north, so he can reunite the east and the north.
Yeah.
And then also on top of that, if he decides, or if they decide to marry Robin with Sansa, they could move to the Vale, and then Peter could take over as Lord of the North.
No, I don't think Peter's getting I don't think he's getting the position of power he wants.
I'm not saying this is gonna happen. I'm getting in Peter Baelish's head.
Yeah.
This is what he's thinking.
I see this is his plan, his master plan.
This is why he needs to get Sansa as an ally. So this is why Sansa, and I think Sansa trusts her own instincts. She's like, I grilled that motherfucker hard. Yeah. And I believe that I can trust him because he squirmed like hell. And I think she did a good job manipulating and figuring out how he really feels. And I think she was confident enough to send him a letter to to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Second, do you have anything else to say to that?
No, I like that. I'm pretty much in line with that that line of thinking.
Now prepare for my theory that I had this morning that I created, I debunked myself.
Only to exhaust by nighttime?
It might be true, but who knows? But probably not. So she left orders with Brienne to go kill the Blackfish. She left her a note. Sansa did not know that that Riverrun was under siege.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how Sansa learned this information. This is where there's a little flaw in my plan. I don't know. But if Sansa knew that there was a siege at Riverrun, and it's in desperation, she says, no, Brienne. She sends Brienne a letter saying, Brienne, you need to get the Blackfish. Don't return unless you have the Blackfish by any means necessary. And that leads Brienne in the conflict between, do I hurt Jaime? How do I solve this issue? How do I get the Blackfish home? So pretty much it would be to inform Brienne of how serious this is and how they need the Vale. So she has to do anything necessary to get them.
Mm-hmm. So you think that she sent the Raven to
Brienne?
But how would it get to Brienne though?
See that's where it falls apart.
Right, because she couldn't send it to Frey Lannister camp.
Send it to Riverrun and she's gonna be outside. Fuck, I don't know, man.
No, it's not like it's like calling a.
Hey, Brienne of Tarth, we have a letter for you.
I always remember watching movies where they call restaurants and then they find the person. No waiter knows your full name at a restaurant. That's what's crazy.
Okay, and then there's some kind of generic house, like House Manderley. I don't claim that. I'm just saying it because it's a possibility. I don't put stock in it. Manderley is one of the 3 biggest houses, Bannerman in the north.
Mm-hmm.
They currently aren't supporting the Boltons, and maybe Sansa kind of gives a final plea to them, but they've already sent ravens to the Manderleys, which is what Jon said to the Glover dude. I forget his name. And then really quick, I just want to talk about Melisandre. So for some reason, people think that Melisandre is for some reason at the wall, or they're in all these other places. Melisandre is with Jon, Sansa, and Davos.
Yeah.
You don't disagree with me, right?
Well, she was in the battle, the war room with them, the one scene.
Yeah,
maybe 2 episodes ago.
She even left with them at the wall. She left.
Yeah, that's right.
To go to the houses. People, for some reason, some people believe that she's somewhere else because they haven't seen her in a scene. But let me just ask, Lady Melisandre doesn't serve any purpose negotiating with any bannerman. She's a red woman. She celebrates a religion that isn't loved in Westeros.
Plus, she's feeling the heat. She's not feeling the greatest right now.
Yeah, but
for some reason, why I don't know why she's not feeling the greatest. I feel like she did something really accomplishing by bringing him back.
But she preaches a false religion, Jon doesn't need her. She doesn't rely on her like Stannis. She's not needed, so why have her in the scenes? And having her in front of the bannermen is an insult.
Yeah.
Having wildlings on top of a red woman, what the fuck? I'm gonna celebrate the 7 gods. That's not a way to negotiate with your people. And
no, she's definitely there. She's just in the background.
And finally, most important thing, they're at the camp where Shireen was burned.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Yeah, because we see a scene where he kind of figures it out, right?
Do we? We see him standing next to a pile of wood.
Like a pyre.
Kind of resembling a pyre. Could that be unburned? Is that possible? Could that actually be where Shireen was burned? Is that realistic?
I'm trying to think, would it be crazy that her face didn't burn? That's a stretch.
Because of grayscale?
Yeah.
Stone, man. Stone.
Right?
Stone doesn't burn.
Right? That's a stretch, though. I don't think they would show a little girl's skin on the ground, but maybe something like her shoe, something that he knew was hers. He's gonna be like, what the fuck happened here?
Or the wooden, what's the animal with the antlers?
Oh yeah, he carved her the shit.
Yeah,
he carved her like a elk, was it? I can't remember.
It's elk. It's very flammable, but it would be unbelievable if it made it through that fire.
No, some hardwoods don't burn, so if he
it would just be charred.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, but then that would immediately he would be fucking pissed.
Oh
to
yeah.
the point where he would tell Jon, and you know what Jon would do? He would hang her.
I don't know though. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really feel though that you mentioned the red witch, that she's doing some sort of transition. I feel like she's losing her power, or she's on death's door and her magic isn't as strong anymore, or there's some sort of existential threat to her.
I don't think so. I just think
she's a mess though. You would think she'd be a little bit more celebratory, or maybe hey, a little bit into it more. Because that scene where you even see her in the background in the war room, she's just her hair's messed up, and she's she's just sitting there you guys can't see me, but she's just kind of wide-eyed, not paying attention at all. She's not inputting, okay. She's not doing anything. I know, but it's her personality is not what it was before.
I don't think so though. Here's what I think is the
she has no place, so she's feeling the worst right now.
No, this is what the key difference is. You can't. Okay, first of all, you can't blame a woman for having a bad hair day. She's in the middle of a fucking
No, but her character is to look a certain way always.
I know, but here's I don't blame her for acting like that at all, because first of all, I feel like her faith is strong, but she says she obviously is going to do anything Jon says because he's the savior.
No, but she says that really loosely. She's she's the princess promised, and just walks away from it.
Come on.
She does. I don't think she believes that yet.
She believes that. She's gonna support Jon.
No, I don't. I don't feel like she's shown that she obviously, yeah, I believe that she's gonna support him, but I feel like she is questioning her faith right now, big time.
I totally disagree with you. Okay. I think the whole thing is that, look at the difference between Stannis and Jon. Stannis' whole everything was reliant on the Red God, and that was her role. She didn't talk about battle strategies. That's not her place. Her place is to preach religion and burn people. Jon doesn't do that. Jon doesn't need somebody pumping him up, saying that he's the Lord and Savior. He doesn't need some red priest burning people to help change the tides of war. He doesn't need any of that. So why does he need her? She has absolutely nothing.
Yeah, she serves no purpose right now, though. But exactly. She's not pretending like she does have a purpose.
But we haven't seen her since episode 4.
Watch the last scene with her where she's on the bridge with Davos, and he pretty much says, "So what are you doing now?" And she's like, "I guess I'm gonna serve Jon because he's the prince that's promised." And then she literally walks off emo style, and I'm pretty sure that's the last line she has. "I guess I'm serving him now." She does not believe it like she believed with Stannis. Even though she knows now it is, it's almost what's going on with you?
Yeah, but it's
you're questioning your whole shit, or this is so mind-blowingly on the nose of what you saw that you can't handle it.
I don't think it's questioning. I think it's just demotivation. She loves what she does and she can't do it because the person that she supports doesn't support her faith. I think that's it.
Yeah, but they're not showing that. That's why we're arguing about it. It's left too much to interpretation. If she serves a purpose, it's going to be in these next couple of scenes. I think she's getting choked out, at least. by Davos.
Or by the
he's
news.
He's gonna flip out.
I'm sorry, milady, but fuck you. But let's go over to the Hound again. So I just want to say really quick, from here on out, like they switch between the Hound and Arya. I love it.
Yeah,
I love how they still show that there's kind of a connection there between the Hound and Arya. So we go to the Hound, and Brother Ray is just kind of standing there talking about all of his sins, what he did, kind of his story of how, all the shit he did. He was kind of a yes man. He didn't want people to see him as a coward, so he did things that were uncowardly. And he talked about him killing a boy. And it was something that stayed with him all night. And he said he would forever remember the mother's screams as he slept.
Yeah.
And then what I found really interesting is Brother Ray says he felt like shame. He couldn't eat or sleep. And we look at the Hound, and the Hound actually looks like this is resonating with him. He looks like upset. He's like looking down. You can think that he's thinking about the butcher's boy.
Shame was so heavy on me, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
He's thinking about that fucking butcher's boy. That like he killed Arya's friend. Arya, I guarantee, Arya is the Hound's closest friend. The Hound has never been close to anyone like with Arya.
No, not in a friendship type thing.
Yeah, and I think he was just thinking about the butcher's boy. And I think he was thinking that he was sorry about it. And I think it's like one of those things where he was thinking about, when Ray says shame, he's immediately thinking about Arya. He's thinking about how she wanted to kill him because he killed the butcher's boy. And that hurts him so much. It kills him.
Yeah.
And he feels shame and he feels terrible. And he's like, it's just this huge thing of emotions with the Hound. And what I found interesting about the Hound is he always bragged about all of it. He made it very clear to brag about what his stuff. Real men kill. He brags about who he is, what he does. He brags at how he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, that's his armor. That's why you never see him wearing that much armor. That's his armor.
Exactly. That's his armor, and that's what he does to protect himself. And you see him kind of break down as he's telling this story, because this story resembles the Hound exactly. Mm-hmm. But then the Brotherhood without banners arrive, and they don't seem very Brotherhood-esque. The Brotherhood without banners are supposed to protect the poor.
This is what was weird to me, that it ended up being them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what leads me to a conclusion that I don't think they're members of the Brotherhood, but they're not true members of the Brotherhood. Like, I think they're kind of radicals, like betrayers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like drunk marauders.
Yeah, like they follow the Red God, and they're asking about their horses, their steel, and their food. And it's obvious that they're surveying what they have so they can later reap it.
Yeah, of course.
So then the Hound talks to Brother Ray about it. He's obviously upset. Brother Ray doesn't want to fight because he thinks violence is a disease. And you don't cure a disease by spreading it. Do you have any thoughts about that quote or anything about this part of the episode?
This is goes into my theory with him, is that he is going to spread it in this case because he's thinking vengeance now. Like, we see him take up the axe. We even see him swing the axe in the upcoming preview. So I think he's going to do one last thrill kill, and I think this is going to be the reason why he ends up going to King's Landing. Whether he's captured or subdued somehow, and he ends up going back to King's Landing in this case. To I don't know who he goes back with, and we don't know where he is. Like, that's another thing for it's a big hole in my theory.
We do. He's near Harrenhal by Riverrun. So
he is near Riverrun.
Yes, because the Brotherhood without banners right now are rallying commoners and shit to help out with the siege of Blackfish, to help out the Blackfish men, I believe.
I feel like he's getting dragged back to King's Landing, and this is like his repenting thing. Like, oh man, like he was right. I shouldn't have been violent, and now it's like I have to pay for it. Every time I'm violent, I have to pay for it.
I hope he doesn't go to King's Landing, and I'm leaning more toward. I don't know where I'm leaning right now. But, so you think he would go to King's Landing to preach religion?
No, I think he's going to go as a captive, but maybe somehow he ends up with, like, a convert for the Sparrow.
See, I think the whole idea is that, the Hound obviously, like, he knows that those...
Or, sorry to interrupt, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they would have taken that 7-starred symbol from Rey, right?
I don't remember.
He's going to be wearing that. He's getting it back from those guys.
Oh, I like that.
And he's going to be... That's why I think he's not going to follow the religion.
No, he's going to... No,
but that's going to be like his symbol.
No, exactly.
Even though it might be some bastardized version of the religion, but it's mostly from what Rey told him. He's going to come up with this thing where he sort of follows his own way, and then maybe that's why he gets called to arms against...
No, I agree. I think he's going to wear that, and I think to him it doesn't represent the 7 gods. I think it represents Brother Rey, what he did for him, and I think it represents what the Hound wants to be as a person. And I think what the Hound is going to be is the Hound doesn't agree with violence as a disease. Like, the Hound says, sure, you can help all these people, but you need to stand up for yourself so you can live another day to help more people.
Yeah.
And I think the Hound is going to take that arc. We see him back in the day with Arya, and Arya was pissed at him. He walks into this guy's home, eats his food, and then punches him in the face, takes his money, robs him, and leaves with him, just him and his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And Arya was pissed. She called him the biggest shit in Westeros.
Yeah.
And he said they were going to die anyway because of, winter.
Yeah.
So the new Hound would never in a million years do that. But the Hound now, like, I think he'll totally, like, he'll be violent, but he won't be the guy who takes from commoners. Like, he's not that guy. He helps the low people, but he'll get violent if he has to.
I just think, like, I kind of blew my mind with that. I really think he is going to be wearing that symbol.
No.
And it's like, it's almost
I see the revelation on your face as you're, like, discovering this.
Because I don't think you'll get this reference, but there was a show back in my day called Kung Fu, The Legend Continues.
Right.
And it was a guy that played Bill in Kill Bill, if that's a better reference. But he was like a monk, basically, that would just sort of get into these adventures. Like, he would walk into these adventures and people would need his help. And he wasn't a violent guy, even though he knew Kung Fu. He just knew how to kick people's asses. So that's why now, instead of him being captured, instead of being him sort of brought back to King's Landing, maybe he's called upon because of that symbol. They're like, hey, you're one of us. Come with us. We need you. Boom.
Yeah, like, the gods have shown that, you can be violent. It's not being violent means being holy. For God's sake, there's trial by combat. I think the Hound is going to be a violent guy who helps the poor.
Yeah, it's going to be a bastardized version of this religion. He's
there to help the people, but he's going to fuck you up if you, like, do the wrong thing. Like
a Robin Hood you're talking?
Yeah, like, I think he's really going to take on that role. And it's going to be really good. But let's go to Arya. I want to go to Arya.
Jesus, Arya.
So Arya
so, like, kind of pissed.
I have a lot to say about this.
Maybe it was right.
No, we will see. So Arya is my favorite character, tied with Jon Snow. Those two are my top favorite characters, and I've never changed them. Literally since season 1, episode 1, I'm not even joking, Arya and Jon Snow were my favorite characters, and it hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I cried myself to sleep after this episode. So she books passage home, and she pays money for a ship, and she pays even extra money for a cabin. And then she's even confident enough to pick the time of when they leave. Instead of in 2 days, she says dawn. So literally my first impression of watching this, on Sunday when we watched it, is this isn't Arya.
No.
You can tell the way she's walking. She's walking like a rich folk. She made sure to dress herself up. She's not Arya. No. She's playing a character.
She's walking like a fucking peacock with her feathers open, getting as much attention as she can.
Exactly, and that's key. She wants to get attention, and she was putting on some kind of facade or some kind of character, and she definitely wanted to attract unwanted attention. Either she wants to, when she was talking to that Westerosi, maybe she thought that dressing up would kind of persuade him to let her go on the boat because she's seen as this rich, high-born kind of, she puts on that facade or because she wants to attract certain attention, which she might have gotten on the bridge. She's standing at the bridge looking out, and we see this old lady ask her a question or something. And
Baba Yaga rolls up.
Yeah, and then she stabs her. She slices her, and then does 2 stab wounds. And I think
and a twist.
Exactly, and the twist is really important because make it quick would be maybe a slit in the throat, maybe toss her over the river, maybe something a little bit more subtle, but it's clear the waif is going out for blood. And when she turns the knife, she's definitely going for a painful death.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this mistake, Arya escaped.
I don't think it was a mistake. I think she was... man, I really think this was calculated. Yeah, I was really... I was 100% confident that this was calculated until the end scene.
Exactly. We'll get into the calculation, but... do you think the waif could get in trouble for that? Because literally, on her own personal feelings, she's not truly no one because she actually wanted Arya to suffer. And because she wanted Arya to suffer, she got away.
Have you heard...
that's where the problem is. That's where she could have... That's where there's one way or another a face could be added to the haul. Because it's clear that the waif isn't faceless. And the fact that she wanted to hurt Arya and she didn't kill her because of that, I think that's a huge issue. She could be in trouble, man.
Have you heard the craziest theory about Arya?
No, I want to make it very clear. Some people claim that it wasn't Arya.
No, listen to this theory though. I don't know if you know this one. You're pretty privy to the things. People are saying that Arya and the waif are the same person.
Oh, fuck off.
No, listen to this. It was actually pretty interesting.
It's
I don't believe it, but it's a good mind state to get in.
Here's the
It's a conflict between herself, whether she chooses to be no one, or whether she chooses to be Arya Stark. And the struggle between them is that, the waif is her trying to be no one, and Arya is Arya.
I know, but here's the thing, though. That's not a theory to predict what's going to happen. I totally agree with that. But that is like an English essay analysis.
I know. But that's what I'm trying to think. We know what happens because of this. That theory is sort of like a spoiler in a sense because we know she chooses Arya. You know the waif is gonna die. So in that case, it's just a matter of time with her, and you know the waif is being totally emotional about it. And I think Jaqen knew this the whole time. He knew this was gonna happen. He's like, fuck. Why did this have to happen?
100%. He had to send her to an actor to kill an actor, so she had to watch her family's fate again.
Yeah.
But do you know there's people out there who think that that's actually not the real Arya? Can you believe people think that shit?
She put her face on someone else? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. It's stupid.
That's dumb.
It's stupid.
I think people just say anything nowadays and try and see if they get it right. Because like I was saying before we even started recording this, you only remember the ones that got it right. All the other theories, as soon as they get disproved, they get erased from memory. So there's no non-incentive not to say the craziest things.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. There was that theory that there's a lot of proof or a lot of evidence to support it. You never see Arya and her in the same room when Jaqen's there, right? It's almost like they say he calls her out to say, I want to speak to Arya now, or I want to speak to the waif now. You must kill this side of you in order to... There's like any fan theory, there's a lot of convincing arguments for it. But that's what I mean. I don't believe that theory. I don't subscribe to that theory at all. I think it's just... We all know that the waif is going to die.
I think
my theory, I think, was... It's almost... I even saw it when I went back and watched the video that you did.
Yeah, you totally nailed it. So, Arya jumps in the river to avoid her. She walks in the streets in fear, and she's looking at all the faces, which kind of shows that she's scared, which kind of destroys your theory. But let's go through I think there are maybe 3 reasons why, or to explain this issue. So, the first one, let's get it out of the way, and this is the one that I initially thought. if she got stabbed because she was being stupid. I think the whole idea is that she went out there confident. Once you're a part of something, she was a part of the faceless people, and she realized like, oh fuck, this isn't a big deal. And then when she actually got out there in the real world, she realized it was a big kick in the ass. Like, holy shit, these guys are fucking serious.
Because here's the argument to that. Why the fuck would she sleep underground?
Exactly. So
if she had money, she could sleep in an inn. She slept in a fucking sewer.
Exactly. So she did see some foresight. Unless she did that just to kind of... Maybe she thought she was disguised. I don't know. Maybe she thought she was playing a good enough character.
No, man.
I don't know. Exactly. So that's kind of light. But what made me think of that, though, is because when you see her walking down the street, it's like she's acting like... She 100% got stabbed. I'm not saying she didn't get stabbed. She got stabbed. So...
Maybe it's like when people get shot in movies where they had a bulletproof vest on, but still one came through. So she wasn't expecting...
No, I think she definitely got stabbed, no matter what.
But you don't think she planned for it? You think it was total accident? You think she escaped with her life?
No, I'm more on your side, but I think that's a possibility.
Because I was just thinking now that maybe she was a little bit more worried that Jaqen would be there to finish the job. And that's the one thing that she didn't account for and knew that she would not have a defense against if he showed up.
Yeah, true. But she did seem like she was wounded a bit. She was trying to get back. I feel like 100% she was going to go meet with Lady Crane. And if she was stabbed because she was stupid, she needs some stitches and she needs some milk of the poppy, a couple drops to make her lose the pain. And then the next episode would be the mad dash. But then the next theory is it being an act. So take it away. I'll give you the reins.
Well, see, I don't know if it was an act at that point, though. Like, that was my one thing. And the only thing would be that if she was looking for Jaqen, he would know. And that was the fear in her eyes at the end. But everything other than that, if we forget that scene, we know she's going to do the same thing again. This is how she gets the waif out. But at the same time, why didn't she try and attack the waif? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did she allow herself to be stabbed in order to then, unless she knew she couldn't beat her in combat?
Maybe it was almost to read the room. Like, it's like, I've never seen the waif in a face before, so she's trying to get her bearings on who's going to be her assassin. Like, where are they coming from? Are they coming after me? It was kind of like a test, to kind of test the waters and see if she's safe.
But then she's acting. She knew that she was going to get something, so she prepped for it.
So it's like this idea of it being an act is that she already met with Lady Crane, and she used her as an ally to maybe get some theatrical equipment to help her maybe survive an encounter.
Yeah.
But to me, there's a lot of ifs. Like immediately when we were watching the episode, we're like, okay, she's definitely getting stabbed, but is she wearing like some kind of like steak stomach or something? Like,
yeah, I don't know if you can, like, if you have the PVR, I guess. So if you look back at it, there's a scene where she's walking to the bridge, where I even was gonna say it and I never did. It almost looked like she had like a wet chest.
No, she did look
like
puffy.
It looked like she was wearing, like, she was like soaked in a way. So I thought maybe it was the lighting, or I thought maybe it was just like kind of the environment. It's hot and sweaty out.
Yeah, but then that's like the idea that like make Arya, she's definitely more clever than we think she is. Like, I think it's one of those things where she's like, the waif is gonna want to assassinate me. She's probably gonna be given that task. So, like, the gamble is her face is exposed. So she took a big risk by going out there. She could have got stabbed in the head. She could have died any other way, but she got stabbed in the stomach. It's almost like she like somehow knew, like, oh, the waif will try and like make it painful for me because she fucking hates me. So like, this is the plan.
Yeah, she totally knew. She totally knew. And that's why we see that scene. And that was why I sort of bridged the gap on that scene where she's running through the alleys. She's putting obvious signs as to where she's going.
Yeah, and she seems fine. And I feel like you see her hand of blood kind of stroke across the wall in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And like, from my little analysis, it doesn't look like she's really injured. It looks more of a... I don't know. It's tough. But
no, she's leading her in.
Because
the cinematography tells me that she's leading her in. It's like zooming in, and you see it's almost like she's like... almost like signing in.
Yeah,
right?
She's painting.
It's a
wave.
waif.
Yeah, she's using the waif.
Yeah.
Judgment of her, because the waif thinks she's stupid. She's using that to advantage.
No, because what was one of their nicknames?
I don't know.
Cat of the Canals or some shit like that.
don't know what you're talking about.
One of them, either Arya called herself that, or the waif was known as that, or something like that. I saw that somewhere on a board. I don't know if that in the books, maybe she calls herself the Cat of the Canals. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. She's leading the mouse, like she's playing on this cat and mouse game that she has already rigged. Yeah, we know she can fight blind. So she's going to lead her to a dark alley.
100%.
Right? It's 100%. Or even to her fucking bed and breakfast that she set up underground. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like, I don't know. I'll be shocked if Arya isn't somehow scathed. Like, maybe she might have some kind of mark. She might have to stitch up a bit and maybe a bit of milk of the poppy to get her through. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, the knife looked like it fucking went in, man. Like, I don't even know. But,
it'd be a hard sell if she didn't get injured at all. If she had a full meat packet and she didn't get a scratch on her.
Yeah,
because then there's no explaining the end scene when she looked distressed and she was walking.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It'll be tough to see what happens.
It could have been the dipstick theory though, where she was testing the waters. She knew that she was gonna get attacked. There's no denying that, and she got attacked by the waif. She jumped in the river knowing that that's my open spot that I can get away from if I get attacked. I get out, but if I get out of the river, I don't know who else is coming to get me. She doesn't know who's coming to get her. She knew, the waif, and then she got out and was like, fuck, Jake, it could be any one of these people getting out of the river, because he's way smarter and more cunning than anybody that I have ever known. So she could have been distressed that he might have shown up.
Yeah, because it's almost one of those things where it's like, okay, so I went out for like 10 minutes and I already got attacked. So now I can't just hop on a ship and leave because these guys are serious. So in order for me to leave, I need to make a statement. I need to kill the waif. And that could be said like, Jack and Hagar always said, one way or another, a face will be added to the hall. So maybe Arya's thinking, well, hey, I did betray them, but what if I give them the waif's face? Yeah. Because out of this whole situation, I'm sorry, I didn't give you Lady Crane's face, and there's still not a face of the hall. So instead of my face, I'm going to give you the waif's face. So she kills the waif and then leaves.
Do you think she's getting away from Jack and scot-free?
I don't think you can ever get away from Jack and scot-free. I don't know.
If she kills the waif, then you think she's like, okay, no, you're a pretty dope warrior.
No,
let's call it even.
No, I think it
will haunt her forever.
It'll bite her in the ass. I feel like it's gonna be one of those things like she has a constant enemy that's always walking to come and kill her, and she has to keep moving. Like it's like one of those things.
But you think that she betrayed Jagan so much that he needs her dead? You don't think he's got any emotions for Arya whatsoever now?
Well, I think at that point when you're a part of a sacred organization, and if you go through all that training and you leave, you can't leave scot-free.
But
she has to die.
But there's something there where he said, make sure she doesn't suffer, right? There's obviously there's a little bit of humanity to him.
Yeah, that shows he has respect.
Maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, that's true. But let's go over to the Hound. And just really quick, I want to talk about, I love how it's switching between Arya and the Hound. But I found it interesting how, the Hound just recovered from his life-threatening injuries.
Only for Arya to get some more of her own.
And now the episode that he comes back fully healed, Arya then gets her life-threatening injury.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be how these characters have both been so independent. Mm-hmm. And their independence is kind of what drew them together. But I find it funny how, both of these injuries are so bad, they can't be independent. They have to rely on other people. And you see the Hound relying on, his people that got butchered to bring him back. And now Arya, I think, is going to rely on, Lady Crane and, the Actors Guild to help her back to health. But, yeah, so the Hound is chopping wood and brush. Here's screaming. I didn't think it was convenient at all that he was up there cutting bush. Like, he likes being alone and he cuts a lot of wood. Like, it totally makes sense that he's up there alone, right?
Yeah, yes and no. Like, he seemed like he was sort of, like, prepping for an attack. So it was weird that he was sort of off camp when he knew full well. He was the one that said, like, they're coming back, right? I know these type of guys and I know how they operate. They're coming back. So that's the only stretch, but obviously it serves a story.
I took it as he was just taking brush off of the log to cut it, and like I hate for this one, like I can see you can say like, oh, that's plot convenience, but for this one, I honestly felt like this wasn't plot convenience. Like this is what actually
No, they showed him always away from the group.
Yeah, and
that makes sense.
And this is what actually would happen. And then on top of that, like, it's the time loop thing. No matter what happens, the Hound is destined to do something. And this something, this is why the Hound is just walking through life. Falls off a cliff, breaks his leg, comes back. He's up cutting a log, and his village gets raided, and he's still alive because he has a destiny. He has something he has to fulfill.
Yeah, that's why Arya didn't kill him in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So all the people are killed. Rey is hung. The Hound looks upset, picks up the axe, and leaves. But what I found funny, or not funny, interesting, is during it, there was a very slow music, and it was very slow, very reminiscent of the Red God tune.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked that. I thought that was really interesting. So that just shows what he's doing next. He's going to the Brotherhood for revenge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I think what I hope is the Hound gets primary character status.
I'm hoping so too. He's one of my favorites.
Well, he's everyone's favorite, and in this episode, like unlike Jorah,
I really hope they didn't bring him back for us. I really hope his story does something.
No, I think it was actual story, and I think, the Hound actually held his own episode.
No, it was amazing. But again, I'm totally biased because I wanted to see him back. I denied believing in the thing that he's coming back.
Yeah. But
even though I totally wanted him to come back.
Yeah.
Right?
But the Hound was, he was by himself. He had no supporting characters or primary characters to support his arc. He was alone, and he was in the majority of the episode. And the episode was named after him, and he supported it, and it was a great episode. They haven't done that with Jorah because I don't think they're confident in doing it. And I think this shows that, the Hound is going to take on, a primary character role.
I'll try to count. Maybe you can help me count here. How many... Maybe this is not anything, but I was just thinking maybe this is something significant. Arya, right? She's sort of been passed along through different mentors, right? We have Ned, for sure. Yes. That's her dad. We have, I would say her brothers, but we'll just say Jon.
Yep.
Right? She then gets taught by, what's his name? Ilio?
You keep calling him Irio. It's Syrio for real.
Syrio for real. Then, I guess Jaqen, right? At Harrenhal.
And then the Hound.
Then we can include the waif in that. So that's already 6 teachers.
Yep.
So I almost feel like they're
going to be a 7.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a 7th teacher.
There's something there. Right?
Okay.
So I don't know what I just started counting like, oh, she's learned all these things from all these like really dope people.
And then you realize that you just broke something crazy. You know what we should do? Next episode, we should actually sit down and try and fit all of these teachers into their separate god categories.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be that Arya is the 7th god, the stranger. Out of all these 6, they made her the stranger, which is the 7th.
Yeah.
But then I guess Jack and Agar would be the stranger. I don't know. We'd have to sit through it.
Well, there could be different reasons, but I really think there's something there. There's some substance there, and there's there's tons of symbology in this thing.
Yeah.
But it's almost like building to that. Like it might be a next teacher that she runs into because we still got lots of story with her. So maybe it's this even actress chick.
Well, it's
right.
Yeah.
Because it's going to teach her to be more like she's a dope actress. That's what they're really laying on thick.
To truly act. Yeah, that's true.
So if she can act the part, then she's a true ninja, right?
Yeah, and they all taught her something different. Like the waif was more physical.
Yeah.
The Lady Crane would be more facade acting.
Jaqen was stealth.
And Jaqen was stealth. So those literally, actually, those 3 things come together to make the perfect faceless person.
That's what I mean. But you have Ned teaching her like fatherly honor stuff. Jon teaching her like even more honor stuff, but there's obviously a difference there because she's connected in him, and the Serial is like just really dope fighter, like really he taught her all the swordmanship that she knows,
and he taught her that you say no to death.
Yeah. And then the Hounds filled in like the empty spaces from that teaching, saying no, brute force. in some cases, really.
And saying that the world is darker than she actually thinks it is.
Yeah, like she's going through all these teachers. It's almost like her own religion. So.
Yeah, and I think, well, what I think is interesting is I hope the Hound and Arya get back together.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I hope. Like, I want Arya to be more with the Hound than I want her to be with Sansa.
Oh, same.
Like,
They could have their own show, I feel like.
I want Arya to be with the Hound, and I want her to be with Jon. But I find it interesting now how, like, I feel like they're hinting to it, because this episode, you're cutting from Arya to the Hound, from Arya to the Hound. But then on top of that, both of these characters have both arrived at the same destination. They're both going to be the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're both going to be killers who have a moral compass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to be killers who have a moral compass, who do the best for the people and for themselves. And Arya learned that from Ned, from her family, and that's the way Arya is. And
she's a discriminate killer. She doesn't kill indiscriminately, meaning she only kills people of bad morals.
Yeah, and she can't be a faceless person because she can't let that part of herself go. And now the Hound just learned that. He learned that he can't just be... He has to listen to himself. And
that's what they always argued about in the first place.
Yeah, and now they're both...
on the same page.
They're both on the exact same page, and they have both been through the same thing. They both have had a life-threatening injury. They've both kind of had like a rebirth, and now I think they're gonna. I like, this is total fan service. I hope they come together.
Yeah.
And then that's how they live their life as a team.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty awesome.
That'd be pretty sick. Just as a team, though. I think that'd be cool, like a father-daughter relationship, you know?
Yeah.
But that's it for the episode recap. Now, I want to get into the episode 8 prediction. I wrote down some pretty specific notes for this. So this episode is called No One.
Obviously, Arya.
100%, and I hope it's a Arya-specific episode.
I picture that being a quote that the Sparrow would say, though, too.
Really?
Yeah, like, kill me. I'm no one. It's the faith.
He always says that. No, yeah, okay.
And with his unblinking ways.
But then this is the description of the episode. So, while Jaime weighs out his options, Cersei answers...
Sorry. I wasn't ready for your description read there.
You're interrupting me.
Go ahead. I don't know. Funny? It was like your transcontinental accent came on. Hi, guys. Welcome to BuzzTox.
Did I do the... I did like my reading voice?
Yes.
While Jaime weighs out his options, Cersei answers a request. Tyrion plans bear fruit. Arya faces a new test. And then that takes us to the preview. So Cersei says she chooses violence. And Brienne says if she fails to get the Blackfish to surrender, and if Jaime attacks the castle, honor compels her to fight Jaime. And Jaime says that he loves Cersei, and he will slaughter every Tully until he can get back to her. We see Arya parkouring away from the waif. We see the Hound just mutilate someone with an axe.
Oh, for sure.
We see Tyrion look at a chandelier.
Excuse me.
We see the Mountain kill a bunch of high sparrows too. High sparrow. Why do I keep saying high sparrows? You see the Mountain kill a bunch of sparrows. Yeah. So based on this information, what do you think is going to happen in episode 8? I know this episode is going to be like a holy shit. This isn't set up. This episode is going to be full throttle.
It's Arya's cat and mouse game. Waif dies by the end of this. I don't know if we'll see Jaqen though.
Okay. And you think she kills the waif by doing maybe a darkness, kind of a... Maybe she pretends to be wounded, which kind of gives way to waif wanting to kind of torture her and kind of catches her off guard by being like, haha, I'm not injured, you bitch.
Yeah, it's just going to be cleverly plotted out traps. Whether she, like, obviously, that's what my theory foundation is. She leads her into the alleyways. Thin alleyways, not out in the open. That way Arya can kill with her regular face, right?
I gotta say, I would love it if the waif somehow dies around the stage. The actors are acting, and she is somewhere around the stage. Either Arya is behind the stage, on the stage, somewhere near the stage, and I hope the waif dies around the actors' area. I think it'd be sick.
Like, you want to see like a public execution of her kind of thing?
Fuck yeah.
No, I don't think that can happen.
No, I just think it would be interesting imagery to have her kill her with the actors surrounding her family.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting imagery, but I think most likely it would be in darkness.
No, I think she's pulling a pure Batman here. It's going to be something that plays on the waif's fears or inconsistencies. You know what I mean? Mm. So it's full Batman. It's full Batman. She's doing like the whole fear thing here.
Okay, and then what about Jaime?
I don't know what's Jaime. I'm still thinking he's getting called back, and he's like, "Fuck, my loyalty lies somewhere else."
No. In this preview, we see Lannister men kind of engaging the castle at night.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean Jaime doesn't have to leave. Bronn, he's already priming Bronn to do this, and he's like, "Shit, I gotta go." He doesn't care about his honor right now. He knows, and that's why I think the Blackfish said that. And he's like, "Shit, he's right. Nobody's gonna believe me no matter what. Bronn, fucking invade. I gotta get back."
Okay. So now, what about Cersei? Give me some King's Landing action.
Cersei's gonna try and make some moves, and it's gonna end with blood. Not her blood, obviously. Not yet.
We see Cersei entering the throne hall, and we see a lot of people there, almost like a party. And then we see kind of Tommen walking with the seven-pointed star Kingsguard, and they're kind of like approaching her. So I wonder what the issue is there, and why does she choose violence?
Because she's just done with these fanatics. She's just totally done with them. She's like, yeah, I got the mountain behind me. Let's do it. Let's rumble.
But to me, the idea of her saying "I choose violence" is like she had to have thought that through. Like,
I think it's got to be closer to the end of the episode.
You can't just go on a bender if nothing happens. Like, there has to be something that drives her to say she chooses violence.
So we see, what's his name? The Maester. That's not a Maester.
Pycelle? Qyburn?
Qyburn, her, the mountain, walking up. Almost looks like she's going to confront Tommen in front of everybody. Like, how could you do that with the, right? Because that's the closest she's been to him since this whole thing happened. So she might go bitch him out in front of a whole council.
Bro.
And that's not going to go over well with both Tommen and the Sparrow. So then maybe he sends his goons to go collect her because that was out of line. Maybe she does something crazy, right? And then he's like, "Come with us." Or no, does he say step aside?
I don't even know. I'm just thinking about the theory you just foiled.
Because I wonder if maybe the mountain kills someone right then and there.
I thought Qyburn would be murdered at the start of the episode, which is why she would choose violence. But Qyburn was standing right next to her.
No, so there's two different scenes here. She looks like she was, when she says "I choose violence," it looks like she was at her tower. To me, at least, it looked like she was at her tower, where she was stopped before by the Kingsguard. Remember, like, "Sorry, ma'am, you can't leave." That's where she looks like she is again, with only the mountain behind her, saying like. And what's his name? Lancel says, I don't know if he says "step aside" or he says "come with us." So that's kind of important there. But whatever she says, or there will be violence, she says, "I choose violence." So that's when shit, fucking WWE starts, and he starts ripping heads off.
You shut me down because I think the children, the kids who are the whispers for Qyburn, who get all the information, I think they're going to be the ones to kill him. Because the whispers that they're hearing is that the High Sparrow is pro-poor people and Cersei is anti-poor people. And Qyburn is supporting Cersei. This is just making it really simple to understand. And because of that, the kids decide to kill Qyburn as a stance of rebellion. And I thought that, Margery might take advantage of this opportunity and try and cripple the High Sparrow by, putting his morality or putting his faith or whatever into question, blaming him for doing this, coercing the poor children to kill him, or maybe Cersei's, but I think Qyburn is actually alive when she says "I choose violence," but I thought that would be her saying "I choose violence" because she lost Qyburn and all she has now is a mountain.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's at the end of the episode. So Qyburn could be living or dead. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if I think that maybe it's like Breaking Bad. When it's a coordinated attack. Like, remember when he kills those witnesses in jail?
Yeah.
So maybe she's like, "I choose violence." The mountain acts up. Those children kill Pycelle. And maybe even Kevin Lannister. And she just starts taking them out. I don't get her motivations yet until we see that scene where she confronts Tommen, though. You know it's Tommen. She's going to confront Tommen of, "What the fuck were you thinking? Allying with the Sparrow?"
Yeah, and I think
and she's gonna make a spectacle, and then that's her last thing.
And I think the main reason she says she chooses violence is I think it's kind of like I need to create a ruse because the only person here that I really have is my son, and they're not letting me see my son. So what do I have to do? I have to go on a killing spree with my mountain,
with my Franken
zombie mountain, get the attention, and have them drag me to my son. I think that's the whole idea, and then it's like, let's see if he's truly, lost. But is she getting her trial by combat? I just kind of wrote it off, but I forgot about it. Is she getting her trial by combat this episode?
No, I think this is coming now. That's what I think. Because it looks only like there's three sparrows that show up. So do you think she spares Lancel and says you have one last chance, man?
I don't know, but I thought it would be a last. I think she could say I choose violence too, because it's oh, I'm sorry, my lady, we're not doing a 1-on-1. I choose violence. We're doing a 7v7 as the 7 gods believed in before our time, and then she won't like that because the only person she has is the mountain. Mm-hmm. So it'd be 1 versus 7, and I think that's what pisses her off, and I think that's another reason why she would be I choose violence.
Yeah, it's really has she made it public that she's trial by combat, or she's only really told Jaime?
I think she's told just Jaime. I'm not sure. I think it's public knowledge, to be honest. But anyways,
I don't know, man. It's so crazy. There's so many things here now.
I just want to talk about one more character. Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I want to talk about the Hound. So I like what you were saying. I like what you were saying about the 7-star.
Yeah.
But literally guide me through, what is the Hound gonna do next episode? What is his mission? We see him cut a log, but instead of a log, it's a man's head.
Vengeance.
So walk me through. What do you think he's gonna do? Do you think he's gonna meet with the Brotherhood? Do you think they're gonna capture him? What do you think is gonna happen?
I think he's gonna literally chop down everybody. If it is the Brotherhood without banners, there's a definite chance what's his name could be there.
Yeah.
Right? And he could
Samir.
Yeah.
And Beric Dondarrion.
There could be an exchange of wise words, and maybe he still cuts him down. It's another lesson, right? He's going apeshit. There's no way they would bring him back and give him that much screen time, only then to not use him. This is gonna be a big one for him.
And I love your idea of him getting the 7-pointed star. I feel like that's something that's gonna stay with him forever.
Oh, for sure. It was so in her face. That's so in her face. That guy was wearing that.
Yeah, but I have a lot to say about this. So I think he's gonna go there, and I think he's gonna go for revenge. I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna be, after he goes on quite a spree, I think they're gonna seize him, and I think they're gonna take him to Samir, and maybe Beric Dondarrion. This is what I think about Beric Dondarrion. I think what they're going to say is that he's not there because he sacrificed himself to try and save Catelyn Stark, but it failed.
Okay. So off the Lady Stoneheart thing?
Yeah, I think that's key. Lady Stoneheart is dead.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And, I think at some point, I feel like fans just ignore what's logically right and what makes sense for just to pay,
No, it might have been a cool storyline for the books.
But it wouldn't be though. If you put for the books.
Yeah. So they have to trim the fat somewhere, and maybe it didn't really have any sway on the main plotline here.
Yeah, and that being said, it's you imagine throwing in people even now are we're hearing rumblings that Samir is going to be in season 6. Does that mean Lady Stoneheart's going to be here? No, it doesn't, because guess what? If Lady Stoneheart came back, that doesn't make any sense. Hey guys, so remember in season 3 when Catelyn Stark died? Surprise! We actually brought her back immediately after that, and she's been with us for 2 seasons.
It
doesn't add up, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's like I said before, though. They're very, very mild with their magic.
Yeah, and
they're not going to bring 3 people back from the dead.
Yeah,
it's just not happening. It's not happening.
They already have Benjen.
Oh yeah, 4 people back from the dead.
Benjen was a payoff for season 1. There was the Hound, who was left for dead but ended up surviving. There was Jon. Jon was the one true resurrection,
which everyone knew was happening.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so Beric Dondarrion may not be there because they're going to kind of live a little Easter egg and say that he died trying to revive Catelyn Stark, but it failed. And I think they agree that the Hound's judgment of those 3 men was just.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, you're right, we shouldn't have been doing that. We don't have control over those men. Those are a bad reflection of the Brotherhood without banners. Thank you. And I think they're going to either provide him the chance to come with them to Riverrun.
Yeah.
To help with the siege. Or he's going to... And they're going to offer him. Whether he takes it or not is up for debate. I feel like the Hound would be like, fuck you. And I feel like he'd leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like on his leave, we see Brienne in a boat. And I think she's fleeing with the Blackfish and his army. And it wouldn't surprise me if she stumbles across the Hound.
Yeah, but how would that go over?
I see, here's the thing. I think they see each other. And I think at that point, you're not... Like, they're not just automatically going to fight because they have nothing to fight for. But I feel like the Hound is going to be like... He's going to remember... He's going to have this 7-pointed star, and he's going to be like, you know what? Like...
You were right to try and take me down. You had an oath that you had to follow.
Yeah, what you did was just on your side. I'm pissed that you did it to me. But I'm alive, and I can't have hard feelings now. And she says, no, I think it doesn't start like that. I think it starts aggressive, and he finds out that she's taking these men to the Starks. And I feel like he sets aside his differences because he's like, Arya, like, maybe there's a chance she's there. Maybe I can support the Starks.
Maybe I just owe it to her, wherever she is.
Maybe I owe it to Arya. Maybe I can go there and see Arya again. Maybe that gives me a chance. So he goes, okay, I'll set aside my differences. I'm going to go to Winterfell, or fight for you guys at Winterfell to support the Starks and possibly see Arya again for Arya. So I think that's going to be his arc, is he's actually going to go up north and help with the fight for Arya.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that'd be sick. Because honestly, like, I think like he's very close with Arya. I think that's like that's the only relationship. It's like his daughter,
basically.
It's literally the only relationship he's ever had.
Yeah.
And with Jaime and Brienne, like, so I think, you know, I like how they're against each other like they were in the books.
There's no way they're fighting though. They respect each other too much. They respect each other too much.
So bad.
And she would just like destroy him now.
Yeah, I know. So I don't even know. I'm just convinced that they're gonna. I don't know. I know the Blackfish are gonna get out of there, but to me, it makes sense for them to surrender and just come back later, or maybe just to keep their honor, sneak out, so they don't have to say we surrender, and that kind of destroys your honor. So I feel like if they sneak out, they don't really say they surrender, and then they can just come back and take it over later.
If anything, in my mind, the Blackfish stays at that castle by himself if he has to. I don't see him moving. Maybe he gives them an army and sneaks them out somehow. That's still a stretch in my mind, but like he's not leaving. He's not He would not leave that post. He's too old. He's too stubborn. He fucking told them to kill his own nephew. Like he's so unmovable.
Okay.
And that's him. Like, yeah, okay, kill my nephew. I don't give a shit. Like, he's not moving, no matter what. Okay. He might give them troops, right? In a secret deal, or say, hey, I have a reserve somewhere else that I was gonna use them. I'm staying here. Right?
Okay. So one last thing. So Tyrion plans bear fruit. So that pretty much means he's planning positive outcomes. Mm-hmm. So I think Tyrion next episode, I think he gets attacked by the Harpies. I think we see him staring at a chandelier. I think they're going to be under attack.
Like you think Jurassic Park, he's staring at a chandelier, starts shaking.
Maybe.
Right. And
maybe it's not attack. Maybe it's the dragons. I don't know. But I think the positive. See, it's hard for me to mix these two ideas together. But I'm pretty confident the positive changes is Theon and Yara. I think they're going to be there.
Yeah, I feel like anything that's going to show up is going to show up in a last ditch. We still haven't seen that explosion happen there.
Yeah, so I think...
Unless that's like, oh, everyone's back together here. And then, boom, that's when it happens.
Dany's here!
But I think once Dany's here and once, even when eventually the boring Theons show... Like, the boring Theons. The boring Greyjoy show up, that's that story resolved.
Yeah, okay. And right? I don't think we're not seeing Daenerys until she's in Meereen because there's literally nothing else they can do with her. We already had a scene of her pumping up her Dothraki. That was really just a scene to say, oh, here's Daenerys.
Yeah.
it was just her pumping up. There's no real significance to that scene. I love the scene, but there's no significance. You can't have another scene with no significance. So,
well, she's as slow as her Dothraki army. She can fly home, but she's not going to. She's going to walk back with them.
Yeah, exactly. So I see her making it to Marine, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10, and I see her maybe after a Harpy attack, maybe getting Tyrion, using Drogon to help bring out the dragons and help train them, make sure they're protected, because she's going to be with Drogon. Drogon's going to alpha the fuck out of them.
Oh, yeah, as he ever.
And kind of make them trainable, and then they're going to realize, like, you talked to this dragon, Tyrion, and then they're going to realize that kind of affinity relationship. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about that.
Tyrion fucking lets the dragons out in this next episode.
It's possible.
Maybe they come a little too close to the palace, and he's like, what else do we have here? Boom.
Positive changes.
Lets them out, right?
Burn them all.
Yeah. Who knows, right?
Exactly. So, you have anything else to add?
No. I'm just hoping I can see it. After all this.
Oh, yeah. So, quick announcement. Trevor isn't going to be around for the next one. Trevor's bailing on us. He's going on vacation.
Later.
So, I'm going to be here all alone with 4 less teeth. So, I'm excited to see all of you guys next week without Trev. We got to find a way to do one together. I want to talk to you, Trev.
Unless you can record like a phone call.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't even know if the place I'm going has HBO. That's a huge one.
Fuck, man.
Most places do, but who knows?
We'll see what happens, but until next time. See you guys later.
See ya.